So the Democratic National Convention has come and gone, and the most powerful politicians in Illinois came in with a lot of positivity and a lot of optimism, a lot of smiling. But the problem is the people in Dolton and the people in Dolton Township are not smiling. During the DNC, many people who are concerned about the conditions in the township and the conditions in Dolton try to reach out to these politicians on social media only to be ignored. The state has failed Dolton and the township. Why has the state refused to step in this situation? This is why I wanted to bring back this video that I posted a few months ago for those who haven't seen it, to further expose the political connections that keep the supermayor in power. Let's get into it. In this video today, we're going to connect the dots. We're going to expose the Illinois political machine that keeps people like Tiffany Henyard in power. It's about corruption, it's about political loyalty to the party, and overall, it's a lack of care for the residents. Allegedly. Let's get into it.
A lot of the trustees said they have been asking for documents, a lot of residents, but they said they're getting nowhere. Their questions regarding spending are not being answered. That's got to be frustrating. When this is the community you live in, you just want these questions answered. You want to know what money is being spent, where, how much, when, how often. You know, some of the trustees also say that some of the bills just aren't getting paid. The trustees also tried to pass a resolution recently to call for the Attorney General's office, the FBI, other law enforcement authorities to come in and investigate, but that was vetoed. But they're going to keep trying. But they're begging, they're asking for any of these law enforcement organizations to come in and investigate. Residents too. Some of the residents say they have wrote letters to different authorities, but they have not been answered.
Do you guys know who this man is? If you don't know who he is, he's the lawyer, Michael Galdo. He's the one that we all realized through the special board meeting has racked up almost $1 million in billables in attorney's fees. This man is making a whole lot of money. It looks like he's running a show. I showed you guys the footage of the board meeting when Lacey tried to stop the meeting because Carol Wilson was able to speak, talking about the situation with her daughter, Alexis Wilson, and Lacey was ready to stop the meeting. And it wasn't the mayor, it was the lawyer that had the power to continue the meeting, to tell Lacey to stand down, because he knows how bad that would look if they cancel the meeting based on a grieving mother talking about the corruption with the Dolton police. He told Lacey to sit your ass down.
Which I know you're incapable of. I wouldn't trust this woman if she stood on a stack of Bibles and had her tongue notarized. Not a damn thing she says comes out her mouth is true. Thank you.
Say her name.
Alexis.
All right, okay, all right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately, the meeting is now closed down. We need you guys to move to the door. Okay. Yeah, okay, just, hey, Lieutenant, just the one that's making the ruckus, escort him out.
So this guy is really powerful. And the question that I have, and I think at least many of us have, is why has the Attorney General done anything? You know, this guy we're looking at right now may have something to do with it. You guys will have a better understanding of why she's able to do all these things and embarrass herself. Like, how nothing has happened yet? Who's keeping her in power? We don't know what's going on. We're kind of bleeding out here. Money's being spent stupidly on fireworks and banners. They're going to Vegas. God knows what's happening in Vegas. They're spending all this money. She's picking and choosing who to enforce the laws, donate to her. You don't respect it. She finds ways to F you over. We need help. And nothing has happened. So I'm gonna show you this other person right here. You guys may not know who this person is, but don't worry. Everything is kind of connected here. Do you know who Chris Welch is? He is the Speaker of the House.
Emmanuel Chris Welch saying he is honored to serve as Speaker, describing the past 2 days as a whirlwind.
I didn't sign up to be the Speaker. I didn't seek this job out. It kind of found me.
Welch was elected with 70 votes, 10 more than needed.
He got replaced by Michael Madigan.
The Speaker's door opening on Monday when Mike Madigan suspended his re-election campaign after an informal vote showed he only had 51 votes.
This individual got indicted on federal racketeering and bribery charges connected with alleged corruption schemes.
A decade of alleged corruption by House Speaker Mike Madigan. Just leave it in my hands, Madigan is quoted as saying, apparently on a secret recording. But when he offered to solve problems and take care of something on one hand, investigators tonight suggest that left his other hand open. they say for bribes and private benefits.
The indictment accuses Madigan of leading, for nearly a decade, a criminal enterprise whose purpose was to enhance Madigan's political power and financial well-being while also generating income for his political allies and associates.
The Madigan enterprise, according to federal prosecutors, is a criminal conspiracy with former Illinois House Speaker Mike Madigan at the top of the flowchart. But at the heart of these 22 counts against Madigan are crooked politics, say prosecutors, racketeering, bribery, extortion, and fraud.
So they picked Chris Welch to take on the job as Speaker of the House. There was a special investigation into Speaker Michael Madigan's nonsense. Let's see what Chris Welch does.
This is how a political professional covers up the truth and crushes an investigation.
The House special investigation into Speaker Michael Madigan is now officially on hold. The top Democrat in that investigative committee issued the abrupt decision to cancel hearings until after the election. House Republicans already were raising concerns about stall tactics and a delay like this.
The stakes are very high for Speaker Madigan. He faces potential discipline, possible expulsion pending the findings of this investigative committee that was ongoing as recently as last week. They tried to issue a subpoena and require the speaker to testify. Then things broke down. Now they're going to have to wait. House Democrat Chris Welch putting the whole process on ice, writing in a statement today, quote, "The Republican members of this committee are also engaged in competitive political campaigns in which they have chosen to campaign almost exclusively against the speaker."
Soon after.
The State House hearings investigating Speaker Madigan came to a bitter end today. While Republicans clamored for more witnesses and evidence, Democrats dug in and defended the speaker from facing more scrutiny.
The high-stakes investigative hearings that started months ago ended Monday afternoon when Democrats don't call Madigan to testify, defend Madigan's actions listed in those charging documents against ComEd, and disband their investigation altogether.
This is a sham show trial.
Democrat Chris Welch ended the House Special Investigative Committee Monday over Republican objections.
They're hell-bent on making sure that the speaker never testify. You're going to excruciating lengths to protect Michael J. Madigan from ever having to testify to his nefarious behavior that was crystal clear in the outline of the emails.
The committee produced documents and testimony from the state's largest power company that revealed Mike McLean soliciting jobs and board seats from ComEd on behalf of our friend, who federal prosecutors identify in charging documents as House Speaker Michael Madigan.
This is why I will never, ever be in politics. You can already see that when it comes to holding people accountable, if the person that you're going to investigate is in the same political party as you, you will not do anything. These political parties don't hold each other accountable until they are no longer useful. So clearly, Michael J. Madigan was still useful enough, or did enough favors for enough people, that he was able to stop the investigation, or you could say Chris Welch stopped the investigation. So you see the pattern here. They don't check their own. And this is the culture of Illinois politics. No one is held accountable for anything. Let's connect some more dots and let's talk about Chris Welch's wife. Her name is Shante Raines-Welch. Let's talk about her connection with the supermayor. So as you see right here, she is a lawyer, but actually she was elected to be judge. But before she was a judge, she worked for the village. But let's figure out who's the person that helped her with her campaign to become the judge. You see right here, if you look real close, there was an article talking about her qualifications as a judge, but they asked for a comment for a lawyer who represents the town of Cicero, was a political ally of Madigan, and is helping Raines-Welch's campaign, Michael Del Galdo, the same lawyer that was on Tiffany's team until she couldn't afford him anymore. He helped Chris Welch's wife win the election to become judge. Yes, the dots are connecting. Let's see how she was a lawyer for the village of Dolton. She was not very visible for the village. You contact her via email, there's no response. This is what Dolton trustee Kiana Belcher said, who complained that Welch only respond to Henyard and not the trustees. And she got paid. So from June 2021 to March 2022, her law firm billed the village of Dolton more than $63,000 for just 316 hours of work. I'll let you do the calculation to see how many days of work that was. So they do the same type of lawyering, just take a lot of money from the village and do little to nothing only to appease the person running the entire show, the mayor. And I'm gonna show you this picture right quick right here. Guess who defended Tiffany in that recall case that she went down with? That guy, that white guy right there, was Mike Madigan's attorney. Same attorney that helped Henyard beat the recall. Because remember, everyone keeps saying, recall it, recall it. They did. The people lost because of technicality. This attorney was helpful with that, and that's Mike Madigan's attorney. So hopefully you guys are getting a little bit of the connections. Galdo got Welch his first election win for the school board district. They have been helping each other ever since then. So Galdo wanted to have that township position because he's a lawyer. He makes a lot of money, right? So let you know the connections here. His wife, Chris Welch's wife, was the original village attorney. About a year later, this person had to run for judge. She got elected. She had to resign from that position. But you see how the connections is very obvious. So Chris Welch recommended Galdo to step in as the prosecuting attorney until his wife had to officially resign. And Galdo assumed both roles without the board voting. Once he was able to get on to the village, he wanted the township. He wanted to make money from both. Now, the interesting thing about Chris Welch is that him and Keith Freeman are good friends. Welch is the one that connected Keith to the job as administrator. Remember, I don't know if you saw the 5 minutes of faith with Keith Freeman. He was saying someone was talking to him about he should come in and go back to public service. He wasn't sure about it.
One day, I'm sitting in the house, and I had gotten a call from the same person, and he had said, Keith, you got to come work in this town. And I'm like, I'll never work in that town. Then his wife called, because his wife was the managing attorney for one of the cities. As a matter of fact, a couple of the cities. She was like, Keith, can you just think about it?
Welch right there, you see that? Emmanuel Welch donated $2,500. They donated to Tiffany's campaign right there. You can actually look that up as well. Galdo has a lot of connections in almost every courthouse in this state. This trio of friends extend one step further. Kwame Raoul, the Illinois Attorney General. They seem to be all really good friends. There's apparently several cases, at least two, that could have took her down, and the AG office refused. This goes extremely deep. All the embarrassing things that's going on in his state with Tiffany Henyard, and he has no interest in investigating this. These people were desperate. What Sherry was talking about, they were trying to reach out to anybody that's willing to listen. This woman is too incompetent. She's doing too many wrong things. That's the reason why she walks around like she's invincible. So this man is making a ton of money. Many of the governmental matters Galdo has worked on throughout his career are directly related to real estate, including zoning, tax increment, financing, economic development, and the use of permitting. According to his firm's website, Galdo's firm provides counsel to towns. The Better Government Association found that Galdo's firm was among the highest paid by Cook County towns, pulling in $14.8 million in 5 years between 2010 and 2015. Imagine the money he's pulling in now. But let's dive deeper into this political drama involving Tiffany Henyard, some questionable campaign spending, and echoes of past political misdeeds by this individual by the name of Jerry Jonova, a former mayor with a checkered history. This story is layered involving alleged misconduct and financial discrepancies that can rival any political movie, any political show. So what the hell am I talking about? Jerry Jonova, checkered past. So picture this, a mayor who doesn't just fall from grace, but plunges into legal troubles. That's Jerry Jonova, the former mayor of Calumet City, who ruled from 1993 to 2001 when he was indicted and eventually jailed for 5 years. His crimes? Pocketing $125,000 in kickbacks and shamelessly using city employees to campaign for him on the city's dime. That sounds familiar. Fast forward to Tiffany Henyard, whose political and financial dealings seem very similar to Jonova's playbook.
Y'all should be ashamed of yourselves. Getting up at press conference, talking about nothing. Learn the laws.
And the FBI want to learn more about Jonova and his connection with Tiffany Henyard because he is on the Dolton Township subpoena list. Contracts, agreements, engagement letters, invoices, and description of work to the following entities. And you see Jerry Jonova is on the list. Henyard, who is knee deep in controversies of her own, is under scrutiny on how she handles or mishandles her campaign funds. Where is the money going? Tiffany's campaign finance reports are more mysterious than any detective show or novel. There's hardly a trace of payments for the political consulting she allegedly receives from Jerry Genova. And when it comes to other campaign-related expenses, they're virtually non-existent in her financial disclosures. And what is baffling about Tiffany Henyard, most of her declared expenses are for food. Yeah, food. While there should be finance reports covering campaign flyers, event organization, and other significant expenses, all we see is receipts for meals, food. There's also a small expenditure at a cell phone store and another tiny amount spent at the post office, which doesn't come close to covering most of the mailing campaign literature. And this is where whoever's running the accounting firm for Tiffany Henyard is doing some creative stuff here. Tiffany claims her campaign literature was paid by her campaign fund in a group called Residents for a Better Dolton. However, it turns out that this group doesn't even exist, confirmed by legal checks and a lawsuit involving another party. This raised some significant concerns about the transparency and honesty of her campaign financial dealings. There isn't any. So who's really paying? It appears that some of Tiffany's extravagant fundraiser events in 2022 and 2023 were bankrolled not by her campaign, but by the Dolton township. This misuse of funds is not only odd, but potentially illegal, as campaign funds are required by law to cover such expenses. Like I said many times in this video, she is screwed, like totally effed up. Like she's going to jail. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, let's get into some of her state filings. Tiffany Henyard's filings are a complete hot mess. They're so irregular and incomplete that they should have already triggered audits and investigations. I'm talking to you, Attorney General. Her reports are missing crucial details about major donations and other significant expenditures, making it difficult to understand where the campaign funds are actually going. I have some theories, probably going into Tiffany Henyard's pocket. Check out this disappearing act right here. Tiffany endorsed and donated $5,000 to Gloria White, a candidate for a state representative. While White properly reported this contribution, Tiffany failed to declare it on her campaign financial statements, a clear violation of campaign finance law. That's why the feds are here. It's necessary for a thorough federal investigation. It's not just appropriate, it's essential. The supermayor, Tiffany Henyard, often brags about all the money that she is going to bring to the township.
$6.8 million that they did allocate for the village of Dolton. Right now, they're starting to release the money and now getting $1 million to put towards operating expenses or back bills. So I'm just trying to educate on the things that are coming down the pipeline. Now, a couple more things that you might want to pay attention to, residents, is the projects that we're working on. We're working on several projects. Again, y'all know I'm known as the grant mayor, grant super mayor. And what I do is I go get money, bring it back to our community, and I make sure we put it back in our community. Right now, I just spoke of the water main relocation project. We're working on that now. That was about $660,000. We're working on alley sidewalks and a repaving project that will be coming up in the next month. You know about the 154th Street project, myself and Mayor DeGraff. Then we also have a $2.7 million grant for lead service line replacement project. That is coming up. That's a grant that we did receive. We also got $150,000. That's for the water service lines. These are all things under my administration.
And you start to wonder how she's going to be able to get this kind of money. Who's working with her to get this amount of money to come to the township, to come to Dolton? In Illinois, the web of politics is shady, right? I think a lot of us already know that. It's often shadowed by alleged corruption. That's why Tiffany Henyard is targeted by the FBI. But I want to talk about some of this pay-for-play schemes. We're going to be talking about these political connections that kept her terrorizing Dolton and the township for years. So in this video, we're going to connect some of the dots.
But you guys got to connect the dots. D-O-T-T-S. Dots.
There are some theories, draw some connections to this pay-for-play scheme, raising some questions about the integrity of her administration and their financial dealings with the state. Let's get into it. So if you've been on this channel for, I don't know, a second, you already know that Mayor Tiffany Henyard is under investigation for corruption for so many different things. I think she's going to get RICO charges, but I'm not the FBI expert. That's just what I think. We want to dive deep and figure out what's going on. How is she able to continue to terrorize the township? What happened to Kwame Raoul, the Attorney General? So there's some suspicions and some theories that these political relationships are protecting Mayor Henyard from scrutiny and legal action, despite obvious mismanagement and buffoonery that Henyard and her group have committed for the last couple of years. Central to understanding how a substantial amount of money was allocated to Tiffany Henyard's jurisdiction by talking about this person by the name of Don Trotter, former state senator turned lobbyist. His firm, Sacrabias LLC, is deeply entrenched in the political fabric of Illinois. The Dolton Township is giving this company $5,000 each month. You'll see it right here in a second. That's a very handsome retainer. $5,000 each month. Sacrabias LLC operates as a political consulting and lobbying firm. It is listed as a registered lobbying firm in Illinois. It appears in the state's official lobbying list, and it looks like they engage in activities related to political advocacy and influencing public policy, leveraging Trotter's extensive experience and connections with Illinois politics. And why is that important? Well, it's important because Trotter's influence in state politics shows that he connected with really powerful people and have close relationships. He has one close relationship with the influential figure by the name of Kwame Raoul, the Illinois Attorney General. Their association forged over years in the Senate and strengthened by a mutual professional respect. Raoul really respects Trotter. You can look at this quote right here from Kwame Raoul. "I was lucky enough to call Senator Trotter not just my colleague, but also my mentor, my roommate, and my friend," said State Senator Kwame Raoul in a statement released Friday. His intelligence, dedication, and compassion will be sorely missed in the Senate. This underscores the depth of Trotter's connections and his potential to sway decisions at the highest levels. Now we're going to dive a little deeper. Who fills the vacant seat?
I'm State Senator Donnie Trotter. I represent the southeast side of Chicago and the south suburbs here in Illinois. On February 2nd, I'm supporting LG Sims for a commissioner in the 4th Cook County Board District. LG Sims is a man of the community. He is a man who I've worked with in Springfield for over 10 years. He worked as my budget director, so he will bring to the county board a financial expertise that is long needed in that environment.
We're going to talk about a man named LG Sims. He was mentored by Don Trotter. There is never a replacement for Senator Trotter. I'm his successor, never a replacement. Thank you, Mr. President. So, what position does LG Sims have in the Senate? He is the Appropriations Chair. This position is not just another title within the Senate. It is the key gatekeeper role with the authority to direct the flow of state funding. Sims, a mentee of Trotter, wields significant power in determining which projects are funded and which are not. And we also need to talk about Senator Sims' associated representatives, Marcus C. Evans Jr. and Nicholas K. Smith. These two state reps openly supported Tiffany Henyard at some point during her tenure. They're affiliated with Sims through the districts they serve. State Representative Marcus Evans was the pusher for her tax credit for cancer patients bill that never moved forward. Looking at the ties between Trotter and Henyard suggests a network of influence that directly impacts the state's financial decisions. It's a reason why she has been able to do whatever she wants for so long. It's a reason why she was able to basically run around being destructive and no one checking her. If it wasn't for the strong people of Dolton trying to get this story out, talking to anyone who were willing to listen, talking to media outlets, talking to YouTubers, the FBI probably would not be there right now. And actually, the biggest reason why this has even got to this point is because of people like you, people who watch this content, who engage in what's going on, who care, even if they don't live in Dolton, probably never heard of Dolton until now. If this wasn't happening, you can already see the Attorney General was not going to do a damn thing. He is connected through all of this. It's a reason why, no matter how many times the Dolton residents have tried to get Kwame Raoul to do something, he hasn't. He failed in his duty because he has many connections with people surrounding Tiffany Henyard. That's why the FBI is there. That's why people are probably jumping ship. Regardless of the amount of money that's secured, there's too much shadiness surrounding her. And she is in a lot of trouble for many reasons, more that we'll be talking about in later videos. The investigation into Henyard's dealings is a critical step, ensuring that the public officials act in the best interest of their constituents, not at allegiance to benefactors or personal gain. And that's why Tiffany Henyard is all screwed up. She only cared about personal gain and the people that's cool with her, unfortunately.